Chapter 42-41. The geniuses who were scattered all over the place also started to move quickly. At the same time, the elders of the great sage city were watching the battle silently. They were extremely nervous. After all, they couldn't control the situation inside and could only watch from the outside. Suddenly, someone exclaimed as they realized that someone had fallen. The one who was killed was a sacred venerate from the 7-star tower. The one who attacked was Huang Shisan from the great desolate mansion. He was extremely terrifying and no one could escape from him. The people from the 7-star tower looked terrible, but they couldn't do anything about it. Next, everyone watched the battle anxiously. In this space, Lin Xian frowned. He had a strong advantage, and that was his God's Eye of Heaven strike, which allowed him to see more space than others. When he used his heaven-grade God art, he had a strange feeling that he was being stared at by countless people. Could it be that the people outside could see what was happening inside? Lin Xian was surprised, although he wasn't sure. However, it was better to be careful. Endless thunder filled his body and covered his golden eyes. Then he used his Eye of Heaven strike to look around. Buzz! Suddenly Lin Xian's body swayed and he quickly dodged. Where he originally stood, an extremely terrifying crack appeared, splitting everything apart. It was a ray of light that was more dazzling than the sun. It was indestructible. Fortunately, Lin Xian reacted quickly and dodged it. The person who attacked in the dark was also surprised. He actually dodged it. However, when Lin Xian turned around and the person saw Lin Xian's face, he smiled bitterly. "It's you, sword maniac." He turned around and fled without saying a word. To be honest, he didn't know who Lin Xian was when he launched the sneak attack, but now he saw it clearly. He knew how terrifying the sword fanatic was, so he was very decisive when he fled. Lin Xian frowned and waved his hand. A ray of sword light shot out like thunder. It directly sent the person flying, causing him to vomit blood. "No, don't kill me. I didn't know it was you. I'm willing to hand over my token. Please spare my life." This person was an expert from the Limitless sect. At this moment he was very decisive. Lin Xian took the token and snorted coldly, "Scram." If it was outside, even if the other party was from the Limitless sect, he would not have let them off. But here he didn't go overboard. At least he didn't kill the other party. He knew that the Yellow Spring Hall, the Great Desolation sect, and the Demon City would definitely team up. Even Lei Xinqing and the 10,000 Swords Pavilion would join hands. Therefore, Peerless City had a lot of enemies. If they wanted to fight back, they had to join forces with other forces. So now he was looking for some allies that he could unite with. At this moment, a mirror appeared in the sky and shrouded the area below. It was obvious that it was a sacred artifact. It seemed that someone had already started looking for it. At the same time, several pairs of eyes appeared in the sky. Evidently, these were all terrifying eye techniques. Lin Xian, on the other hand, relied on his heavenly secret divine eyes to move quickly. He has already defeated several people. He had also obtained quite a number of tokens. However, he still hadn't managed to gather all of them. After all, everyone had different tokens. There would be a lot of overlap. Moreover, he planned to continue attacking even if he managed to gather all of them. This was because he wanted to eliminate as many people from the holy city as possible. When the experts outside saw this scene, they were shocked. This sword maniac is actually so fast. Yes, he has already obtained 6 tokens. Why do I feel that he can instantly locate the enemy's location? Could it be that he has a powerful eye technique as well? These people were puzzled. Even the Sage Kings frowned. They seemed to want to see through the light screen. However, Lin Xian had a layer of lightning defense on his body. Moreover, they couldn't interfere with the situation inside the space. Therefore, they could only stare. Next, the other geniuses started attacking quickly. They had obtained many more tokens. Some of them were killed. Some of them only lost their tokens and didn't die. Therefore, they just needed to snatch the tokens back within a month. Therefore, they became even crazier. For a time, all kinds of battles broke out. Suddenly, the ancient mirror in the sky lowered its gaze and shrouded Lin Xian. At the same time, countless laws were sprinkled in the surroundings, forming a seal. At the same time, a cold smile appeared on the lips of some people in the distance. Found it. They were people from the Demon City. At this moment, 3 figures rushed over. "Are you going to attack me?" Lin Xian sneered. He threw a punch at the seal, causing it to tremble non-stop. At the same time, the expressions of the 3 great demons who were rushing over changed. "Not good. Speed up. You seem to be fighting back." A pair of wings of shrouding heaven appeared behind one of them and wrapped the 2 of them. The wings moved gently and directly tore through the void. Their speed increased by several times. The other person was wrapped in the wings. His palms were constantly forming seals, causing the mirror in the sky to continuously hammer down light. An unparalleled power erupted from the mirror, causing the world to constantly collide with each other. So much so that some people nearby also sensed it. Their faces turned pale and they quickly retreated. Someone was attacking. What a terrifying attack! Exclamations could be heard. At the same time, the people watching from the outside naturally noticed this as well. The swordsman was targeted. A great battle was about to break out. They were extremely nervous. And in the space, Lin Xian's lips curled into a disdainful smile. The sword chi on his body burned, making him look like a sword god. With a sword he split the seal. However, Lin Xian didn't leave. Instead he was waiting. These people wanted to kill him. He was here to send these people to hell. The three great demon saints were very fast. They arrived in an instant. Seeing that Lin Xian didn't escape after breaking the seal, the three of them were stunned. Then their faces darkened. "Kid, you actually dare to wait here? You're really impatient. Well, I'll take you down today." Earth-shattering power erupted from the three of them. The light of laws shot into the sky. It was as if the three volcanoes had been resurrected. Lin Xian didn't say anything and directly used the tiger demon to attack. Army Destroyer. Sky Shattering. Soul Suppressor. The three attacks were endless. Between heaven and earth, a tiger's roar sounded. It was abnormally terrifying. The three great demon saints naturally knew how powerful it was. They roared and attacked together. The three of them used their terrifying unique skills. Among them, the person with the wings of shrouding heaven on his back turned his wings into two heavenly blades. A terrifying light flashed. Another person controlled the mirror and used a soul attack. The last person let out a roar as he punched out with a terrifying fist, causing the world around him to collapse. Chapter 42-42. The people outside exclaimed when they saw this scene. The sword maniac shouldn't be able to block it this time, right? Boom, boom, boom. The three divine powers collided with the tiger demon fist. Rays of light exploded, and the terrifying laws shocked the world. Then the three divine powers were torn apart, and the three beast overlords were sent flying. The spectators outside sucked in a breath of cold air, revealing incomparably shocked expressions. The sword maniac was too powerful, right? The three beast overlords in the space also had ugly looks on their faces. The other party was able to fight against them, and the three of them were able to injure them. A cold light burst out from their eyes, and they attacked with all their might. With a roar, their bloodlines were fully activated. The terrifying wings of shrouding heaven fluttered between heaven and earth. The ancient mirror kept growing bigger and bigger like a mountain descending, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. The last beast overlord even waved his fist, shattering the void. It had the power to wipe out thousands of troops. These were the three ultimate moves, but they were easily broken by Lin Xian. The three of their bodies split apart, turning into rain that scattered between heaven and earth. Lin Xian's strength was far beyond their expectations. The three of them probably didn't expect it even when they were dying. The attack formed by the three of them was broken so easily. They were really weak. After Lin Xian killed the three of them, he took their storage rings. Then a large black hand grabbed at the void. He directly controlled the mirror. The mirror wanted to fight back, but Lin Xian slapped it. His heavenly secret divine eyes shattered the soul imprint on it. The Thousand Demon City was really courting death. Lin Xian snorted. He directly controlled the mirror and began to search around. He was looking for the people of the Thousand Demon City. The spectators outside exclaimed in surprise. The faces of the people of the Thousand Demon City turned ugly again. Would the nine-headed Qilin be in danger? That's right, Lin Xian was indeed looking for the people of the Thousand Demon City. Originally, he had a heaven-level divine power, but once he used it, he was afraid that he would be exposed. But now, with this ancient mirror, there was nothing for him to be afraid of. His soul power flowed in continuously, allowing him to scan his surroundings. Soon he saw the phantoms of a few demonic beasts. Kill. Lin Xian controlled the mirror and flew out. Soon he arrived in the sky and shot a shocking bolt of thunder at the mountain range below. A crazy roar came from below. A lizard suddenly transformed. Its tail was drawn in the shape of a 1,000-mile mountain range, sweeping across the sky. However, it was easily pierced through by Lin Xian. After 3 moves, the giant lizard was blown apart. After seizing the token and storage ring, Lin Xian continued on his way. Next, he attacked fiercely, killing 5 terrifying demonic beasts. Finally, he met a person. When he saw this person, a smile appeared on his face. Nine-headed Qilin. Nine-headed Qilin's expression was extremely ugly. There were only two people beside him. Logically speaking, with his status, it was impossible for him to have so few guards. But after all, it was a random teleportation. After he arrived, he did not have time to gather others. But now he was found by Lin Xian. This made him feel like he was facing a great enemy. When nine-headed Qilin saw Lin Xian, his face turned green. He turned around and ran. Lin Xian shot out a bolt of thunder, which turned into a sea of lightning and completely sealed the entire space. In the next moment he walked forward. What? You want to leave so soon after seeing me? Where's your arrogance from before? Damn brat, if you dare to do anything, you're dead. The experts of the Thousand Demon City are nearby. Nine-headed Qilin gritted his teeth and roared. Outside, the people of the Thousand Demon City were also stunned when they saw this scene. Soaring Sky Sage King even stood up, his eyes bursting with a cold, murderous intent. A terrifying aura shook the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Everyone trembled. His cold voice sounded. Sword Maniac, you're dead. The 3 dragons' faces darkened. Peerless Sage King even sneered. Why can't you keep your cool? If you're afraid of death, why let him in? Besides, it's useless for you to scream here. Go in if you dare. Damn it. Soaring Divine King was about to vomit blood. He couldn't control this space, so naturally he couldn't go in. Besides, there were so many Sage Kings. If he broke the rules, he would be attacked. He sat down coldly and gritted his teeth. If anything happens to nine-headed Qilin, he's dead. The Sword Maniac will definitely die. Whoever dares to protect him will be going against the Demon City. I'll definitely destroy his soul. His cold voice made everyone know that the Thousand Demon City was really angry this time. I wonder what will happen to nine-headed Qilin? Does this Sword Maniac dare to make a move? In the space, Lin Xian looked at nine-headed Qilin and laughed. You still dare to threaten me? Looks like you don't know what's good for you. Go, the 2 of you kill him. Nine-headed Qilin roared. Beside him were 2 demon sages. One was shining like the sun while the other was cold like a demon. These 2 were powerful guardians. The one on the left was a flaming sparrow. It opened its mouth and spewed out divine fire that burned the 9 heavens. The one on the right spewed out terrifying demonic clouds that covered the sky with a cold aura. When the 2 of them attacked, it was really terrifying. However, it was a pity that they met Lin Xian. Lin Xian didn't care at all. With a wave of his hand, the tiger demon fist and blue dragon seal exploded again. The dragon roared and the tiger roared. The heavens fell and the earth cracked. The sky full of divine fire and terrifying demonic clouds were all shattered. The 2 of them also exclaimed. Not good, ninth young master. He's too strong. We should hurry and escape. Nine-headed Qilin's expression became extremely ugly. Can we escape? As expected, thunder and terrifying sword chi kept appearing around Lin Xian. The sword chi cut off everything. The 3 of you don't have to surrender. If you kneel down obediently, I can consider leaving your corpses intact. Nine-headed Qilin gritted his teeth. He knew that the Thousand Demon City had targeted the other party. The other party would definitely not show mercy. Therefore, he said that the 2 of them had to hold on for a while. He was going to use a secret technique. He gritted his teeth and the illusion of a 9-headed sky snake and a Qilin appeared on his body. At the same time, he spat out a huge seal. There was a Qilin coiling around the seal. It was abnormally terrifying. Could it be a treasure left behind by a legendary powerhouse of the Qilin race? When the spectators saw this, they exclaimed. They didn't expect 9-headed Qilin to have such a trump card. When the 2 demon sages saw this scene, they also took a deep breath. This was the only way. Therefore, their eyes turned red. They were going all out. The laws on their bodies exploded and they let out terrifying roars. The 2 of them used their secret techniques and rushed over again. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The wind and thunder laws condensed in his hand, forming a huge and indestructible sickle. When the sickle slashed down, it destroyed everything. Soon screams were heard. The 2 demon sages couldn't even block a single move. They were directly killed. Their souls wanted to run, but they were directly enveloped by 2 balls of golden flames. They burned rapidly. The miserable screams made one's scalp tingle. 9-headed Qilin was stunned. They can't even block a single move? He gritted his teeth and spat out blood, staining the Qilin seal. The Qilin seal exploded with an unparalleled radiance. A terrifying roar was heard from it. It was as if a Qilin had been resurrected and rushed into the sky. Chapter 42-43. Great. The 9-headed dragon was overjoyed when it saw this. It turned into a stream of light and tried to leave with the Qilin seal. However, at this moment, a large black palm slapped over and enveloped him. Damn it! The nine-headed dragon roared and blew at the Qilin seal as it charged forward. It wanted to fight against the other party. The Qilin charged into the clouds and wanted to tear the black palm apart. Boom! The two collided and terrifying laws swept in all directions. Countless large cracks spread rapidly. I blocked it. The nine-headed dragon heaved a sigh of relief. Finally, I can fight against the other party. However, he soon realized that he was too naive. There were strange runes on the black palm and it directly blasted the Qilin's attack away. The black palm closed and grabbed the Qilin directly. At this moment, another palm slapped over. Like the phantom of an azure dragon, it rushed towards Qujin. The nine-headed dragon screamed in pain and its body was instantly torn apart. No. Outside, the people of the demon city roared crazily when they saw this scene. The nine-headed dragon couldn't block such an attack at all. He would definitely be killed. The nine-headed dragon only had 3 lives left. Now he only had 2 left. Can he still fight against it? Damn it, why don't those people dare to come? The nine-headed dragon was indeed killed. The azure dragon heart was definitely not something he could withstand. However, his bloodline was special and he could revive after death. Not long after, the nine-headed dragon phantom appeared on his body. After he was revived, his expression became extremely ugly. Damn it! I will definitely take revenge. He ran away again. However, the azure dragon seal. Once again it came over. The nine-headed dragon screamed crazily. Lin Xian sneered. You want to beg me? I'll give you a chance. The nine-headed dragon gritted its teeth. I'm a peerless genius. I'm usually high and mighty. How could I beg for mercy? However, he only had 2 lives. The other party could completely destroy him in 2 moves. In order to save his life, he could only grit his teeth and kneel on the ground. Please let me go. I will never go against you again. Ha ha ha. Lin Xian threw his head back and laughed. His eyes shone with a terrifying light as he looked up at the sky. Did you see that? The peerless geniuses of the myriad demon city that you have groomed are now kneeling before my feet. I wonder how you feel about that. The people outside were all stupefied. The nine-headed spirit was actually kneeling and begging for mercy. This was truly out of their expectations. Furthermore, Lin Xian's unrestrained provocation shocked them even more. The greater demons of the myriad demon city roared madly. They were originally ferocious demonic beasts. Usually, they were the ones who suppressed others. No one dared to provoke them. However, at this moment they were being crazily slapped in the face. Even their most outstanding disciple was kneeling at the feet of that person. Damn it, those elders were so angry that they almost vomited blood. The flying sky Saint King's eyes exploded with a terrifying saber light that pierced through everything, causing the surrounding sky and earth to shatter. The nine-headed Qilin was also roaring crazily inside. Who are you? Who are you? Why are you targeting our myriad demon city? He really doesn't understand. Lin Xian sneered. You people from the demon city use your power to bully others. Do you think you can bully others just because you have the upper hand? Today I'll let you have a taste of being bullied. I'm here for revenge. As he said that, Lin Xian struck out with soul-suppressing strike. The terrifying black stone tablet descended, completely suppressing the nine-headed Qilin. Lin Xian struck out with a dragon-shaped sword qi that entered the nine-headed Qilin's body, completely sealing him. The nine-headed Qilin felt his strength disappear and became terrified. What are you trying to do? I'm already kneeling and begging for mercy. Lin Xian sneered. Don't worry, I won't kill you now because you're still useful. I'll give you a big gift. He waved his hand and kept the nine-headed Qilin. The people outside were all stunned. Lin Xian didn't attack directly. This was simply too shocking. But thinking about it, they knew that the nine-headed Qilin was probably feeling worse than death right now. They didn't know what Lin Xian was planning. On the other hand, the people from the myriad demon city were all discussing. Lin Xian was here for revenge. Who was he? They had offended many people because of their 5 Yang's might. But so what? No one should be able to go against them. The flying divine king's face darkened as well. He was thinking about who Lin Xian was. Suddenly he thought of someone. But soon he shook his head. Impossible. That guy was poisoned by the yellow spring diagram. He shouldn't be alive. Even if he was alive, he shouldn't be so strong. So, he really didn't know who Lin Xian was. Lin Xian left after suppressing the nine-headed Qilin. He didn't kill him. Because he was going to use the nine-headed Qilin to threaten the myriad demon city. Who knew it might be useful. But now he should meet up with the people from Wushuang City. He continued to activate the ancient mirror above his head to search. In other places, the other people were doing the same. They were also searching for the other party and fighting for the token. In the boundless mountains, for flashes of lightning unceasingly flickered and transformed into 4 human figures. They were the 4 experts of the thunder god. At this moment, they were looking at a figure by the waterfall in front of them, and a smile appeared on their faces. Someone was there and he was alone. They directly rushed over and fought in all 4 directions, completely surrounding that person. Looking at the other party's appearance, they should be from Peerless City. A cold smile appeared on their faces. They had enmity with Wuxia City. So, did they see the people from Wuxia City? Kneel at our feet obediently and accept our judgment. We can leave you with an intact corpse. In front of them, a young man was sitting on a rock under the waterfall. He was fishing with a fishing rod. Seeing the 4 figures around him, he raised his head and frowned. People from Laishan City, you scared my fish away. Get lost. Otherwise die. A cold voice echoed between heaven and earth. The 4 people from Lei Xincheng were stunned. Then they sneered in disdain. What did this kid say? Tell us to get lost? Tell us to die? Ah. Who does he think he is? If you were Fu Hongye or Linghu Chueshue, we would leave immediately. But you're not. How dare you be so arrogant in front of us? Looks like you're tired of living. Some people were always so reckless. The young man rose to his feet. The fishing rod in his hand was still swaying gently. A low and deep voice was heard. 1,000 mountains, absolute flight. After the voice sounded, the surrounding scene changed. Thousands of illusions of mountains appeared around the waterfall, blocking their path. At the same time, some piercing rays of light tore through the void, shattering the entire void. Puff, puff. In the blink of an eye, the 4 sacred venerables from Laishan City were pierced through thousands of times by those black shadows. Blood dyed the sky red. Chapter 42-44. In just an instant the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The bodies of the 4 people also turned into a bloody mist. How could this be? The 4 of them roared in horror. What happened just now? Wasn't the opponent's divine ability too terrifying? Since you've disturbed my fishing, then you'll become my fish. The young man's eyes once again burst out with a terrifying light. Not good, this is a hidden expert. Run, the 4 sacred venerables from Thunder God City. Just as they were about to turn and run, a cold voice rang out between heaven and earth. 10,000 paths, no trace. Crack, crack. Time between heaven and earth seemed to have stopped. The 4 sacred venerables also stopped in their tracks. Then they shattered like glass. Their souls were directly shattered. They could not believe that the opponent actually had such a terrifying divine ability. The people who were watching the battle outside were also stunned. Oh my god, who is this person? He could actually kill 4 experts of the same level so easily. His means were simply heaven-defying. He was from Wuxia City. Impossible. Other than Fu Hongye and Linghu Chueshue, was there anyone else in Wuxia City who was so terrifying? The people of the Thunder God City all had ugly expressions on their faces when they heard the commotion. Damn it, they had lost 4 experts in an instant. They raised their heads and looked at Wuxia City. They weren't the only ones looking over. Everyone was looking over. Wuxia Sage's lips curled into a smile. Did these people think that he did not have any trump cards? What a joke. Wuxia City did not send any hunters before this. It was not that they were not strong enough, but that some people needed to use them at a critical moment. For example, the strength of the second stage was enough to shock these people. In front of the waterfall, the young man killed 4 sacred venerables of the same level as him, as if he had done something insignificant. He also raised his head and looked at the sky. It was as if he could see through the void. I am Wuxia Sage's 3rd disciple, Lu Yuan. His voice spread in all directions. The spectators' pupils shrank. Wuxia Sage's personal disciple. They did not expect that other than Linghu Chueshue and Fu Hongye, there was actually such a terrifying disciple. They wondered if Wuxia City had any other trump cards. Everyone was shocked. In fact, it was not only Wuxia City. Other sacred cities also had some powerful geniuses. For example, the Myriad Swords Pavilion. Other than Myriad Swords Pavilion, there was another person with terrifying strength. Lu Xuanxing. He was a secret genius nurtured by the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Now he had revealed his talent. At this moment he was facing the 3 great sage lords. With a single slash of his sword, he forced the 3 great sage lords to retreat. Third, the great sage knew that he was no match for them and took out the token to save his life. Get lost. Lu Xuanxin waved his hand, and 3 tokens floated in the air and flew toward him. A smile appeared on his face. This time he was going to let the heavenly smiting myriad worlds know how powerful it was. The third great sage retreated, his face pale. To be honest, they were unwilling to accept it, but what could they do? The other party's strength was far above theirs. They couldn't withstand that sword strike. If there were a few more sword strikes, their souls would probably be destroyed. Truly terrifying. Who would have thought that there would be such a terrifying expert aside from Wan Jianyi? Just as the token was about to fly into Lu Xuanxin's hand, the situation suddenly changed. Between heaven and earth, a horrifying sound wave rang out, causing the heavens to crumble and the earth to crack. In the distance, the 3 great sage lords who had yet to retreat felt an intense impact on their souls, as if they were about to be torn apart. What a terrifying sound. Who was it? They came back to their senses and looked into the distance, only to see Lu Xuanxin roaring. Sword chi burst out from his body, shrouding his body like a ray of light. At the same time he sneered and said, "Who dares to attack me?" No one appeared between heaven and earth, but the sound wave was even more terrifying. Lu Xuanxin snorted coldly, "You don't know what's good for you." As soon as he finished speaking, he drew his sword. The sound of the sword rang out, and a dazzling sword light appeared, crisscrossing. It swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands, completely sealing off the entire space. With one slash, heaven and earth were destroyed. Finally, the sound wave disappeared. A figure walked out of the cave. To think that he could block my sound wave. Interesting. That person was half human and half demon. He was extremely terrifying. After the 3 great sage lords saw the sword Dao, their pupils shrank. They didn't expect it to be the Azure Sky Rock. This was an extremely frightening expert. He didn't know if this genius from the Myriad Swords Pavilion would be able to resist those people outside. Seeing this scene, they were also shocked and started discussing. Inside the space, Lu Xuanxin narrowed her eyes and sneered when she saw the other party. I was wondering who it was. It turned out to be a demonic beast. A mere demonic beast dares to be arrogant in front of me? Kneel down and accept your death. Along with her voice, the entire space was completely pierced by sword chi. The terrifying sword chi seemed to want to tear the 9 heavens and 10 lands apart. The Azure Sky Rock was originally disdainful, but when he saw the terrifying sword chi, his pupils shrank. I didn't expect you to be able to master the mysterious heaven sword formation. No wonder you're so arrogant. The Azure Sky Rock was indeed shocked. The mysterious heaven sword formation was a very terrifying sword formation in the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. It was very difficult to master. It was said that even the 10,000 Swords Pavilion couldn't master it. He didn't expect the person in front of him to have mastered it. It had been 3,000 years since it appeared. Now that he had mastered it, it was truly terrifying. I didn't expect you to be a sword genius. Since that's the case, then forget it. I don't need to compete with you. I'm pressed for time. With that, a pair of terrifying wings appeared behind the Azure Sky Rock. He spread his wings and was about to fly. Now wasn't the time to fight. However, Lu Xuanxin sneered. You think you can come and go as you please? Once my sword formation is out, I'll use you as a sacrifice. At this point, the terrifying sword chi in the surroundings kept on ringing. One after another, sword shadows appeared between heaven and earth. They were like divine swords that could split the heavens and earth. The sword chi that filled the sky slashed forward. You're courting death. The Azure Sky Rock's face sank. He didn't expect the other party to be so arrogant. Very well, then I'll see if the mysterious heaven sword formation is as powerful as the legends say. With a roar, he carried the heavens on his back and charged over. A picture of the heavens formed on his back. It was abnormally terrifying. It was said that the Azure Sky Rock could carry the heavens away. One could imagine how terrifying it was. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. One was a terrifying mutated beast, while the other was using a lost technique, the mysterious heaven sword formation. The power of the two was unparalleled. The 3 lords of the great sage in the distance were instantly sent flying. They looked at the scene in the distance with pale faces. Fortunately, they had decisively handed over their tokens. Otherwise, they would have been killed long ago. The spectators outside were also shocked. They didn't expect that there would be hidden geniuses in the second stage. They already knew about some experts in the first stage. They originally thought that the second stage would be a battle between them. They didn't expect that the people in the second stage would be even more terrifying. Every one of them was incomparably terrifying. Whether it was the Azure Sky Rock or Lu Xuanxin, they were both extremely terrifying. However, some people frowned. The mysterious heaven sword formation was indeed extraordinary. The Azure Sky Rock was probably in danger. No way, right? The picture of the Azure Sky Rock couldn't suppress the sword chi? Some people couldn't believe it. Chapter 42-45. Not long after, the blue sky painting shattered and was torn apart by the sword chi. The Azure Sky Rock's body was also pierced by the sword chi and blood splattered out. Countless people exclaimed in shock. Lu Xuanxin sneered. You're nothing much. With a roar, the Black Heaven Sword formation became even more terrifying. Sword chi danced in the air, trying to tear the Azure Sky Rock apart. An earth-shattering roar sounded. The Azure Sky Rock transformed into its true form and launched a peerless attack. It tore apart a corner of the sword formation and quickly fled. However, it was very miserable. Half of its wing was cut open. Blood flowed and dyed its huge body red. Fortunately, it was talented. It activated its bloodline and directly fused with the heavens and disappeared. The spectators were shocked. Defeated. The incomparably terrifying Azure Sky Rock was actually defeated. Is this the legendary Black Heaven Sword formation? It's too terrifying. Did you run away? I'll definitely kill you next time. Lu Xuanxin snorted coldly, retracted the sword formation and flew into the distance. Suddenly she saw a terrifying sword light cutting through the void in the distance. Its senior brother won. She was overjoyed and couldn't help but speed up. Soon she saw a few figures standing in front of her. One of them had an aura that was even stronger than hers. It was Wan Jiani. Senior brother Wan, Lu Xuanxin shouted. The people in front turned their heads. Wan Jiani also smiled. Junior sister Lu. He waved his hand. Lu Xuanxin flew over. The two sides met up and the people around them praised. Senior brother Wan and senior sister Lu are unparalleled when they join forces. No one can fight against us. The group of people attacked aggressively and no one dared to stop them. They collected the tokens very quickly, and in the end they only wanted to eliminate the enemies. Finally they saw a figure in front of them. One of them slashed at the sky with sword chi, but the other party dodged it. They were surprised that the other party could dodge it. No one could block it before. They knelt and begged for mercy, but the other party didn't seem to be like that. Interesting. I finally met an interesting opponent. The people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion smiled. Lin Xian frowned. Although he had the ancient mirror, there weren't many people from Wushuang City. There were only 11 of them, so it was more troublesome to gather them. However, he did not expect to run into people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. When the 10,000 Swords Pavilion sent out a sword chi, he instantly dodged it. In the next moment he was surrounded by 10,000 Swords Pavilion's people. Lin Xian's eyes glinted coldly. You want to fight? He ignored the others and stared at Wan Jiani. The people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were also stunned. They didn't expect it to be the other party. They were greatly surprised. They knew about Lin Xian. After all, the sword fanatic had caused a ruckus and eliminated many experts. Wan Jiani's eyes also emitted a biting cold killing intent. Although he didn't know the other party was very threatening. It was better to get rid of such a potential enemy as soon as possible. The people who were watching the battle outside were stunned once again. Then they burst into exclamations. They did not expect that the two great powerhouses would meet so quickly. No matter if it was the sword maniac or Wan Jiani, they were both extremely terrifying. Besides, there was also Lu Xuanxin, who had made a name for herself. When the two sides met, an unparalleled battle would definitely erupt. Some people from the sacred city let out a cold smile. Great, this kid is definitely dead. Indeed, Lin Xian was alone, while the 10,000 Swords Pavilion had many people, not to mention two great sword experts. In a one-on-one battle, who would be stronger, him or Wan Jiani? Some people started to discuss. The elder from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion sneered. How could he be a match for Wan Jiani? He couldn't even defeat Lu Xuanxin. That's right, who does he think he is? He will definitely die when he meets the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. The elder from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion was very confident. Lu Xuanxin also narrowed her eyes and looked at the person in front of her. She also sneered. You must be the sword fanatic. You were so arrogant before and even dared to attack the people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Now how are you going to die? Lin Xian glanced at her and said coldly. Who do you think you are? Do you have the right to speak here? Get lost. Let Wan Jiani talk to me. Lin Xian didn't care about the other party at all. In his opinion, only Wan Jiani was worthy of his attention. Lu Xuanxin's face sank completely. He dared to look down on her. Unforgivable. An unparalleled aura erupted from her body. Kit, you dare to provoke me? Senior brother one doesn't need to do anything, I can deal with you. As she spoke, she strode forward. With every step she took, countless sword chi formed under her feet. After 5 steps, the sword aura that filled the air sealed the entire space, completely shrouding Lin Xian. It was about to start. Everyone was excited. They didn't expect Lu Xuanxin to make a move so soon. Lin Xian also revealed a look of surprise when he sensed the sword chi. His strength is not bad. He looked at her again and said indifferently, "Tell me your name. I don't kill nameless people. My name is Lu Xuanxin. Remember that I will be your nightmare for life." Lu Xuanxin shouted angrily and endless sword chi exploded. "You really don't know what's good for you to go against our senior sister Lu." The people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion behind her sneered. Wang Jianyi didn't make a move. In his opinion, Lu Xuanxin was enough to kill her opponent. Lin Xian struck out with the blue dragon seal. A dragon's roar was heard between heaven and earth. A huge dragon danced quickly and collided with the terrifying sword chi. Like a comet colliding, the sound of the heaven-shaking squad was heard. The sword chi was all sent flying. However, even the blue dragon shadow was penetrated. One could imagine how terrifying Lu Xuanxin's sword chi was. Kill. The sword chi turned into seawater and surged in all directions. Lu Xuanxin's face was gloomy. She wanted to kill her opponent as soon as possible. Lin Xian was also surprised that his opponent could block his blue dragon seal. He was really surprised. Interesting. He struck out with the blue dragon 9 palms again. Terrifying power exploded. Every palm had the power to destroy heaven and earth. Both sides were evenly matched. Interesting. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. The people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion behind him were all shocked. They knew how terrifying Lu Xuanxin's strength was. Her simple attacks were enough to kill a saint venerable of the same level. However, her 2 strikes couldn't do anything to her opponent. The people watching the battle outside were also surprised. This sword maniac was indeed strong. They wondered who would win this battle. The situation seemed to be getting more and more confusing. Lu Xuanxin gritted her teeth. Her opponent's strength was beyond her imagination. Lin Xian said, "Your name is Lu Xuanxin, right? I'll remember it. You're worthy of my full strength." The people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion didn't believe that Lu Xuanxin didn't use her full strength. Lu Xuanxin snorted coldly. "Don't be so arrogant. I didn't use my full strength just now either. I'll let you see my ultimate skill." As she said that, she formed a seal with her palms. Countless sword chi flew out and formed a sword array around her. Chapter 42-46. They could feel the power of the sword formation. Lin Xian was also very surprised. He felt a sense of danger and his eyes suddenly lit up. He had never seen this kind of formation from the other saints of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion before. In fact, he didn't know that this formation had been around for 3,000 years, and no one had mastered it. Lu Xuanxin was the first. When the 10,000 Swords Pavilion saw this scene, a hint of envy and jealousy appeared in their eyes. This showed how powerful Lu Xuanxin's talent in the sword Dao was. Lu Xuanxin roared. Suddenly, the black heaven sword formation began to rotate, transforming into thousands of sword chi that charged forward. The world shattered and terrifying laws rushed into the sky, accompanied by a shocking killing intent. Everyone was stunned, and the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion also clenched their fists. The fist was too powerful. The sword maniac would definitely die. Lin Xian took a step forward and waved the tiger demon fist to resist. He used the army destroyer, sky shattering, and formation spirit one after another. Then the 4th divine ability appeared. Demonic transformation. The roar of a tiger sounded between heaven and earth, and the demonic clouds churned with an extremely terrifying aura. The 2 divine abilities collided between heaven and earth. Lu Xuanxin's palms kept forming seals, and the black heaven sword formation changed, forming millions of sword god phantoms that quickly charged out. They tore the tiger demon fist apart. Lin Xian used the laws of wind and thunder. Countless storms on his left formed a wind sword that bloomed with incomparable light. On his right, an ice and thunder sword formed with a destructive aura. The wind and thunder swords slashed forward. They collided with the phantoms. At the same time, Lin Xian also formed seals with his palms. He used the laws of the 5 elements to form the 5-element sword formation. Boom. At this moment, his sword intent erupted, and a terrifying sword light cut through the void, forcing all the millions of sword god phantoms to retreat. The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were stunned. The spectators outside also sucked in a breath of cold air. The sword maniac was indeed a top swordsman. Under everyone's nervous gaze, Lu Xuanxin's black heaven sword formation changed again. It turned into a sword shadow that reached the heavens and slashed down, breaking apart the wind and thunder sword and the five-element sword. Even Lin Xian was surprised. His figure flashed as he used the wind shakes the nine heavens and quickly dodged. At the same time he said, "Your swordsmanship is much stronger than I imagined. No wonder you dared to stand against me. However, it is still impossible for him to defeat me." Lin Xian's eyes shone with a terrifying light. In the next moment, an astonishing sword intent burst forth. Obviously he was going to go all out. Hearing this, Lu Xuanxin was shocked. Did the other party want to die? However, when she felt the sword intent, her expression changed. How was that possible? Could it be that he hadn't used his full strength before? She was completely enraged. She formed a seal and the mysterious heaven sword formation erupted with a violent force. It swept out. One sword shadow after another formed between heaven and earth. The power formed by the combination of these sword formations was incomparably mysterious. First slash of the black heaven. The giant sword that reached the heavens was held by a hand. Then it slashed down crazily as if a god was really angry. The power of the mysterious heaven sword formation was terrifying again. Probably not many sacred venerables could withstand it. Only the older generation could withstand it head-on. When the spectators saw this scene, they immediately exclaimed. Indeed, Wang Jinyi's nerves were also tense. To be honest, he felt threatened now. Lu Xuanxin was younger than him. If she was allowed to grow for another 100 or 200 years in the future, she might really surpass him. This shocked him greatly. Could its power still be increased? Lin Xian was surprised. He saw that Lu Xuanxin had already activated the sect convergence sword. It was obvious that she had strengthened the power of the formation. Thinking of this, he also waved his hand and a biting cold aura burst out. A flying sword appeared in his hand, which turned into tens of thousands of sword chi and rotated crazily around him. Sword kinesis technique. At this moment, as he moved, all the sword chi began to tremble violently. At the same time, a low dragon roar sounded from within his body. Those sword chis seemed to have transformed into huge dragons that suddenly roared towards the sky. The terrifying power caused the entire space to tremble violently. At this moment, even the people in the distance looked up. There were peerless experts fighting. Go quickly. They were scattered all over the world, but at this moment they were gathering in the same place. What a terrifying sword chi. What a terrifying power. Lu Xuanxin was also surprised. To be honest, other than Wang Jinyi, she didn't care about anyone else. She didn't expect this sword maniac to be such a threat to her. So what? She was extremely confident in the mysterious heaven sword formation. This was a sword technique that no one except her had mastered. With a roar, a flash of light appeared in her eyes. Then the giant sword slashed down crazily. Boom. A gigantic sword clashed with countless terrifying sword shadows. Then tens of thousands of thunderous roars erupted. The world completely shattered, and the surrounding people of the myriad sword pavilion kept retreating. They couldn't withstand this power at all. On a mountain peak in the distance, the azure sky rock's eyes were filled with shock. This was the aura of the mysterious heaven sword formation. Who was fighting with the other party? He had experienced the power of the mysterious heaven sword formation before. Even he couldn't withstand it. Now, an even more terrifying swordsman had appeared? Thinking of this, he quickly retreated. The mountain peak that he was originally standing on also cracked. Crack, crack, crack. In the sky, countless cracks appeared on the heaven-reaching sword, like a spider web on one side. Then, with a cracking sound, the sword light turned into countless laws and scattered in the sky. The heavenly sword shadow was directly shattered. Countless people were shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian's sword technique to be so powerful. How was this possible? The elders of the myriad sword pavilion were stunned. That was the mysterious heaven sword formation. How could anyone break it? Lu Xuanxin kept retreating and blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Her face was full of shock. She couldn't believe that it was the mysterious heaven sword formation. It was her most powerful ability. But now it had been shattered. Damn it, what kind of sword technique is this guy using? Why is his sword intent so powerful? At this moment he felt like he was in a dream. He roared like crazy. Buzz. Lin Xian waved his hand and countless sword chi descended again, sending Lu Xuanxin flying. Then he said, "You're not my match. However, your strength is not bad. Judging from your talent in the sword Dao, you might be above the myriad sword one. Why don't you submit to me and I'll take you in as my disciple? To be honest, Lin Xian was also surprised. Although he wasn't as strong as her, he didn't expect her to be so young and beautiful. It really shocked him. He could tell that this sword technique was very terrifying. Even the myriad sword one wouldn't be able to do it. Otherwise, the other party would have already used it during the previous battle. With such talent in the sword Dao, he had the heart to cherish talents. You want to take me in as your disciple? Lu Xuanxin was so angry that she almost vomited blood. Was he older than her? What kind of joke was this? She was a top genius and she felt that he was slapping her in the face. Chapter 42-47. Kid, don't be too arrogant. Kill me if you can. Lu Xuanxin gritted her teeth and said. Lin Xian shook his head. Your sword will be even stronger in my hands. The people from Wanjian Pavilion went crazy when they heard that. Even the saint ruler of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion had an ugly expression on his face. What a load of nonsense. Wan Jinni rushed up with a murderous aura. He said, Junior sister, don't listen to him. He wants to destroy your cultivation. This guy is too despicable. Let's kill him together. Together? Lu Xuanxin was stunned. The spectators were also shocked. No way. Wan Jinni came in. Is he not confident? To be honest, Wan Jinni's face turned cold when he saw Lin Xian's strength. He was confident. However, it was very troublesome. He might even be able to defeat him. However, he might not be able to kill him. He had to get rid of such a person as soon as possible. Therefore, he decided to join forces with Lu Xuanxin. This guy is too despicable. We can definitely kill him if we join forces. However, Lu Xuanxin hesitated. Although she was arrogant, she had never thought of joining forces with others. In her opinion, geniuses would not bother to join forces with others. Unless it was a team battle. She really didn't want to fight two against one like now, so she said. Before she could finish, Wan Jinni said, No buts. If I let this guy go, there will be endless trouble. In order to survive, she had to kill him. How shameless. Lin Xian sneered when he heard that. This Wan Jinni is indeed ruthless. Now he wants to join forces to kill me. Wan Jinni, are you not even qualified to fight me one-on-one? How dare you call yourself a sword genius? In less than 3 years, you will be surpassed by this junior sister of yours. Kid, no matter what you say, you won't be able to escape death today. Wan Jinni pulled out his sword. He activated 10,000 swords and an extremely terrifying aura burst out. This power was even more terrifying than Lu Xuanxin's. Lu Xuanxin did not make a move, but the 6 experts from Wan Jinni pulled out their swords and fought in 6 directions. They followed Wan Jinni's orders and would not let Lin Xian escape. Lin Xian's face darkened. Since the other party wanted to die, he would fulfill their wish. Although he was in a very dangerous situation now, facing 2 top-notch experts and 6 experts from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, he was still in a very dangerous situation. However, he was still not afraid. At most, he would use his trump card to reveal his identity to everyone. When he thought of this, his eyes lit up. A terrifying sword intent appeared on his body. It soared straight into the clouds. From the looks of it, Lin Xian was also about to make a move. However, at this moment, a voice rang out from the sky. Bullying with numbers. Do you really think that there's no one left in Wushuang City? As soon as he said this, the faces of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion members changed. Even Lin Xian was stunned. The people from Peerless City had arrived. Who was it? Was it Senior Brother Fu or Senior Brother Linghu? He raised his head and saw that it wasn't her. Instead, it was a man in green who descended from the sky. His face was unfamiliar. However, Lin Xian knew that this was one of the senior brothers of Peerless City. When Wan Jinni saw that it wasn't Fu Hongye, he sneered. Just anyone dared to come and seek death. Kill him. As soon as his voice fell, the 6 experts unleashed a terrifying sword chi and rushed towards the other party. Not good. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He didn't know the strength of this young man in green. The young man in green said coldly with a calm gaze. Thousands of mountains flying away. Countless mountain peaks appeared between heaven and earth, enveloping the 6 sword saints. Then black phantoms flew out from the mountain peaks. They were like sharp blades covering the sky and earth. There were at least 10 million of them. In an instant, the 6 sword saints retreated. Countless bloody holes appeared on their bodies. Their bodies were dyed red with blood. In the blink of an eye, they were seriously injured. So powerful. Everyone's pupils constricted. Wan Jinni was also stunned. Lin Xian was the same. He took a deep breath. What a terrifying supernatural power. It seemed that this person should also be a top-notch genius. Who are you? Wang Jiani gritted his teeth and asked. He didn't expect Peerless City to have such an expert other than Linghu Chueshue and Fu Hongye. I'm Lu Yuan, the third disciple of Peerless Saint King. Wang Jiani, you're a top-notch genius on the pilgrim list. How can you be so despicable now? You want to fight me with numbers? You can try now. Lu Yuan stepped in the air, and an extremely terrifying aura erupted from his body. Wang Jiani's face was very ugly. They originally had an absolute advantage. However, Lu Yuan's appearance directly injured the Six Sword Saints, causing them to lose their advantage in an instant. It was just Lu Yuan. If they really fought, Wang Jiani wasn't afraid at all. However, in the next moment his face became extremely ugly. That was because at that moment, another ethereal voice sounded. Oh, someone wants to bully Peerless City? As soon as this voice was heard, everyone's soul trembled violently. They felt that their souls were about to split open. Even Lin Xian took a deep breath. What a terrifying soul expert. Moreover, it was someone from Peerless City. Everyone looked up and saw a woman walking over in the sky. She was wearing a black dress. Like a flower that bloomed in the netherworld, her hair was snow white. The two contrasting colors on his body were incomparably strange. Her eyes were black and white as if they were yin and yang. Her appearance caused the entire world to become oppressive. Who was this person? Everyone was shocked, and so were the elders of the sacred city who were watching from the outside. Did Peerless City have another top-notch genius? Impossible, how could there be so many geniuses? Who are you? Wang Jiani gritted his teeth and asked. He felt that the other party's cultivation was ordinary, but her eyes were too terrifying. That was an eye technique and her soul was extremely powerful. It was a great threat to him. I am the sixth disciple of Peerless Sage King Yu Rua. The mysterious woman's voice sounded between heaven and earth, and countless people took a deep breath. Another personal disciple. How many disciples did Peerless Sage King take in? The people of Wang Jiani Pavilion had ugly expressions. The people of Acheron Hall and Great Desolation Mansion also looked gloomy. Damn it, they were too careless. They had underestimated Peerless City. They didn't expect Peerless City to have so many hidden geniuses. Yu Rua stood in the void and said coldly. Wang Jiani, you said that you wanted to fight as a team. Alright, let's start now. As she spoke, an extremely powerful soul storm swept over. Wang Jiani roared and activated Wang Jiani's body to defend himself. Lu Xuanxin also used the Black Heaven Sword technique to cover her body. The 6 injured sword saints also wanted to defend themselves. But soon, their glabella cracked and their souls were destroyed. Are they dead? Wang Jiani gritted his teeth in disbelief. His opponent's soul was so powerful. The people outside were also stunned. This person's soul is probably close to the middle stage of the Holy Venerate realm. Lin Xian was also shocked. Isn't this too powerful? Even his heavenly secret divine eyes felt a pressure. He didn't know what kind of eye technique the other party had cultivated. His senior brother had taken in so many geniuses? He didn't know about it before. That's right, a team competition? Lu Yuan also laughed. Looks like we haven't fought for a long time. Time to let them know how powerful we are. Wang Jiani was furious. What a joke. He wanted to fight as a team battle because they had the advantage. But now the other party had more experts than them. It would be very disadvantageous for them to fight as a team. So he snorted and stared at Lin Xian. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.